We lost elections in 2006. I lost, Oulanyah lost. But I, fortunately, was cushioned because the president reappointed me as his minister. Oulanyah was not reappointed, or he was never minister anyway. But we kept in touch, and Oulanyah had he opened a law firm not far from the somewhere near Nakasero there, not far from behind the French embassy, somewhere there. Kisoji building. He had a law firm. I used to meet him regularly, and I could see that he was not making much progress. So I talked to the president about Oulanyah, raised about Oulanyah, my brother. And the president said, let him come. Let's hear him out. Let him come. But Oulanyah would not accept that. Oulanyah said, no. Let me persevere and go through this. I even told him good things that I had. If possibly, if he came in, he says, no, my brother, let me go through this process. Then one day he was visiting my house, and he saw this. They just delivered me a brand new Land Cruiser, and I had a vehicle, a Nissan Patrol, parked there, and asked me, how can you have two cars? I said, yes, this is my personal one, this is the government one. I said, Mandiang, and I care about any pitutunu. I thought he was joking. So he just took the key to my car, entered, and said, we will see about negotiating the clause later. And Oulanyah drove off with my Nissan Patrol. I'm sure you saw that Nissan Patrol earlier on. And each time I wanted to ask him, now that thing. I didn't have the courage. I did not have, honestly, I never had the courage. I didn't have the courage to tell him that. Huh? Then, of course, went to elections. We came back in 2011, and who cared about the... nobody cared about the Nissan Patrol already, anytime. He was back in Parliament, I was back in Parliament, we forgot about... But he could come to my home on Sundays, dressed in combat, with a pistol in his side, going to the firing range. And he would show, well, I have guns in my house also, but he would show my kids, take his gun apart and show my kids how to put them apart. And to his surprise, I taught all these young kids of mine how to take guns apart, the AK-47, my pistol, how to take them apart. He was really surprised, and he was asking me why I taught them, my kids, about these skills, and I told him my experience as a young fellow. My father thought we should all learn how to use a gun. My father had this obsession or thought that there might be another Third World War, and all his children had to learn how to shoot a gun or something. So we continued in Parliament with Oulanyah, being friends, is coming. But on reflection, I wish I knew. Maybe some of us should ask Oulanyah some tough questions. Or maybe we should have ganged up. Mao should have called us, or the Chief Justice called us and said, let us attack him. And find out what is the problem with Oulanyah. Because Oulanyah didn't start falling ill recently. By 2011, Oulanyah was already sick. I know Oulanyah was hospitalized in Mulago at one time for a very long time. Oulanyah was this Paragon Hospital in the Bugorobi is next to my home. Oulanyah was hospitalized there in intensive care. But everybody just thought, it's one of those things. And he's such a tough-hearted person. You know, this is, I don't know. I don't know what it is. He never talked about it. He never shared his pains. Never shared his pains with us or anybody. Never told anybody about his sicknesses. More recently, then it occurred to us that something was really serious. I happened to associate myself with Ruby Hospital. Ruby Hospital is on Lugogo bypass. It was a new center. They're my friends, and I'm always there twice a week or something. And they'll tell me in confidence that your brother was here last night. Huh? Yes, he came here. He gathered these doctors from around, and they did a procedure on him upstairs. I said, which doctors? I said, we don't know. He mobilizes them, and they come and use our facility. You know, we are not supposed, technically, we're not supposed to talk about medical health of people. Technically, we're not supposed to, but it happened several times. If you saw Oulanyah between the process of swearing in MPs, elections of speakers and deputy speaker, and budget process, if anybody saw Oulanyah properly, especially on the day of the budget on TV, immediately you notice that there's something fundamentally wrong. There are many people watch TV and said, what Oulanyah was not right that day. And it was not. Oulanyah was in a lot of pain from the time. Now when I talked to my friends, the proprietors, they said, you know, your friend was in a lot of pain, really pain, from the time of when you were being sworn in. But he kept it to himself, and I had no right to ask him that, hey, my brother, I heard last night you were in what? In Ruby. With your team. I could not ask him because it was told to me in top confidence, and the institution could lose its licenses. So I would ask him, no, I went for just, he would not even tell me that he went for the procedure, a very complicated procedure. He was told to stay overnight or 2 days, but he would leave immediately. After the what? The procedure. He will leave immediately. As soon as the doctors disappear, and as the car just disappear. Eventually was taken to Dubai. And I was not sworn in with the first group. I was sworn in the second group. Oulanyah had just gone to Dubai by a week. So when I was invited by the president to take photos, like Mao said, you sometimes whisper the conspiracy theory. I also bent over to the president and says, Rais, now ndugu yangu naumwa. I always talk to the president in Swahili. So I told him in Swahili that my brother is sick. I said, I know he's sick. I said, but can you permit me to go and see him? Because it might help, you know, give him morale in Dubai. He said, you go. Then I said, but Mr. President, I cannot go alone because in my culture, if you are going for these long distances, if something falls in your eyes, then who will be there to remove it? So you cannot go alone. So if you're going a long journey, somebody should be able to what? I said, what is that thing actually? You actually are so complicated. I said, no, this is how it's done. He said, who will you go with? I said, let me go with my brother Windolo. He said, is he free? He said, I'm sure he can make time. So I went to my brother Windolo. I talked, I said, the need for us to go. Then we realized that we're not medical experts. So even if we go there to see Oulanyah, then, there might be some challenges, and it would be best to go with a doctor. So we rang Dr. Cheng, the minister, and invited us. We went together with the three of us, to see Oulanyah. We met Oulanyah in Dubai and had a conversation with Oulanyah. But again, our brother was silent. Thanked us for coming, said we made a wasted trip, he's okay. He was taking, the next day he was going back to Uganda, but he was okay. He was sitting on the edge of a chair like this. But he didn't look well. He didn't look well. I tried to talk to him. I even told him that, my brother, Oulanyah, you are no more Jacob Oulanyah. Lukori, you are no more. You're not the property of the people of Uganda. Don't be selfish. You don't belong to your parents anymore. You don't belong to your mother, your father, or to the people of Acholi anymore. You belong to the people of Uganda. Please, what's the problem?